Oi, 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 vey. Oil and water. I don't eat soy. Well, I do, actually. That's a loy. Toy pit the morning to you. Oink, oink, doinky, doink, bazoink, galoink, gadoink. So this message is not for everyone, and you'll know it if it's for you. It was requested that I do some kind of post about the afterlife, and I have some very unorthodox beliefs about that, stemming from my own lived experience. I use that lived word very, very, very loosely, and in a non-anthropocentric kind of way. So, my thoughts about afterlife are extraordinarily complex. Okay, so also I'm going to preempt this by saying that there's a lot of you that will not understand what I'm saying or why I'm saying it, because this message is directly for the person that requested it, and not for people that will listen to this message and be concerned about my sanity. I promise you I'm not insane. So, I've died before. In this reality, I've died 3 times that I can directly remember. And at least one time that I don't directly remember, but I know it happened. So yeah, what happens when we die? Okay, so this may be true for you guys. If you're curious, you may imagine what it would be like to experience this, but here's what I've experienced. When I died, the 3 times that I do remember, I was outside of this realm, hanging out with spirit beings, and God was there. Not like you're going to hell if you don't find Jesus God, but, you know, the God that the mythos points to, which is a more all-encompassing God that is the totality of everything. And also, in that space where I was in, that's yet another part of the fractal, and God is at the entire summit of the mountain, so to speak, which is infinitely far up there, so you can't get there. Nor would you want to. So basically, I was offered the opportunity to leave, to go rejoin the singularity, go to heaven, go to nirvana, and all that fun stuff. Now, for me, what I realized is that I could not go anywhere that Toby can't come with me. There he is. That's the guy. That's the man with the plan. And so, don't look at the beer cans, because you guys that are worried about me are always looking at stuff that you want to be concerned about and turning that into stuff that you should be concerned about. Those beer cans are from multiple days, and I haven't had anything to drink this morning, so specifically to a motherly figure that I know and an auntly figure that I know, stop worrying. You don't have to worry. It's not a factor, I promise. Alright, so with that said, I was like watching everything, I saw what God is. God made himself known to me in a vision while I was in this zone. I saw that God is the totality of everything, and that God's mind and body are made up of everything that exists in this realm, as far as we're concerned as humans in this realm that we perceive. Number 1, there are limits to the realm that we perceive as humans, and that's what we think defines reality, but that is just because there are limits to our senses, and there are limits to our thoughts that are put upon us by the systems of power. Okay, so ignore all that. Forget I said all that. It doesn't even matter. So I saw the nature of God. I saw what God is. God made himself known to me, and I know him personally. He's a very close friend of mine, and he talks to me through my reality every day. I know how to talk to God in my own world. It's different for everybody. If you want to know God, you should ask. In prayer, in a statement of intention, or ask whatever you perceive as God. I perceived that God was every aspect of the reality that I experience, everything outside of myself, essentially. That I was an infinitesimally small point of awareness, and that God was the infinity of everything that this point of awareness is aware of. That's just how I make sense of it in my mind as a human. So, with that said, outside of this human realm is where we also exist as, entities as well, spiritual beings. You don't go away when you die. And you are not restricted from coming back when you die. If your body is destroyed and you want to come back into the same reality, then what you end up doing is coming back as something else in this reality. But you don't have to come back to the same reality. I chose to come back to the same reality the 3 times that I remember dying. And the reason that I came back to this reality is because I'm not going anywhere that Toby can't come with me. So that's extremely important. There's a lot of reasons for that. Plus, I understand what we are and why we're here. So I did that. I came to those understandings, had talks with God. I saw heaven off in the distance as a perfect point of pure harmony and vibration. It was an infinitesimally small point of light that was infinitely large because it's undescribable in human terms. And so my experience has been that you don't just go there. You get offered the opportunity to, unless you're meant to not remember. So the time that I do not remember that I died and I came back, I know what time that was. It was the time I killed myself, and I did die. And what happens is, in that circumstance, especially if it's a suicide, you don't get the opportunity to leave. You just phase shift into a reality, a parallel timeline in which that didn't occur. Unfortunately for me, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, in the human context, it would be inconceivable that I would say fortunately, but outside of that context, I understand how it was actually fortunate, because it is what allowed me to learn the very, very valuable lessons that I've learned. So, fortunately or unfortunately for me, depending on how you look at it, I will let you put the words that you feel appropriate on that. I phase shifted into a timeline where I did not die. It was a close call. Somebody else died instead, somebody very close to me and very dear to me, and it took me a very long time to come to terms with that. I almost killed myself a number of times after that, but didn't. I died because of asphyxiation due to, it wasn't asphyxiation, it was literally just a lack of oxygen because I was doing so much nitrous for a period of time. But I was doing that nitrous because I kept having this weird experience where I'd go be with multidimensional aliens in some kind of spirit realm, and I saw my brother, and I saw God, and I was learning all this stuff and being given the opportunity to learn all these lessons. And I didn't realize that I was dying until later when I looked back on it, and I realized that the way I was coming back from those moments was I was literally choosing to just come back, and my body wasn't dead. I was just on the way. And so when you do that, you just come back and you come back and you come back. If I had been blown up in a bomb or something like that, then maybe I wouldn't have the opportunity to come back to this reality as myself. But the interesting thing about that is one of the times when I was out there and I was choosing to come back, what I talked to God about was I said, God, I've got to go back. I'm not going to go anywhere Toby can't be. I know I've got to be there and do stuff that I'm supposed to do. I know this. But I don't want to be a spirit being. I don't want to go to heaven. I don't want to go back and be myself here on planet Earth in this reality. I really don't care to exist at all. If there's any way you could just erase me, just make me go away, and then you can just go enjoy being a human in my body and do whatever you need to do or whatever. And I was just like, I don't know if that's cool or not, but, that's how I feel, and I mean it, and all that fun stuff. And so what occurred was, came back, and God, being the gracious, empathetic, loving, non-judgmental perfection that He is, or she, or it, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter, because everything in human terms is just a metaphor for whatever reality outside of the human experience is. But God did that. God took me up on my offer. But He gave me one better, and He allowed me to actually be a being still. So I'm still here, I'm still me. And I'm being called to fulfill some kind of divine plan, something like that. And then, it's very important that I never let it go to my head. That's why every time you see me react to something I post that implies the divinity in oneself, I also put an addendum on there, which is that, like, look, from my own personal perspective, it's very important that me as a human never, ever, ever comes to some kind of belief that I am somehow God, But I am doing what is being expressed to me as God's, plan for me, and I have a relationship with God. I ask God for faith. I ask God how to be genuine and authentic. I ask God how to love and how to love myself and how to love others. Well, when you ask how you can love others, what God will tell you is you have to love yourself. If you want to be genuine and authentic to others, you must be genuine and authentic to yourself. Okay, so this is digressing a little bit because the request is do something kind of post about the afterlife. Well, that's essentially what I've done from my own perspective. Heaven takes on many different forms for many different people. You'll get the opportunity to go where you want to go. You don't have to come back. Even evil people, that's only within the context of being a human. You didn't come here to, like, become evil and never learn what you're supposed to learn here and then just head out. So most people will decide to come back and try it again. People that come back without a specific desire to come to this reality in this timeline go back, especially if they don't specify. Could be any point in time, could be any parallel reality, it could be anything in the waveform of probability or possibility that is part of the infinitely large spectrum of potential existences. And so you don't get stuck in a karmic loop. That is a human concept to make humans understand the importance, well, not even to make them understand, just to give them a nudge towards the importance of learning how to be good and how to be righteous by others and how to do all the stuff Jesus talked about. And so I mean, that's my take on the afterlife. And I guess that's really all I got to say about it. If anybody has anything they want to throw into this understanding, I'm always open to suggestion, especially if, like, someone's like, oh, it's very important that you not think this, you're wrong about that. Well, please tell me, because, like, I'm not interested in debating or, like, convincing others that I'm right. I happily express my viewpoint, why I think what I think, but I'm not doing that to convince anybody. I'm doing that to share my perspective from my viewpoint. That's all we all are, is we're different viewpoint perspectives. A lot of people like to say that everyone is source, and we're all just source expressing itself through individualities. I choose not to do that because I recognize the infinitely great fractal that God is. And that means beyond that realm I was in, beyond the singularity. There's still God, still above you, always, unless you reach the very, very top. And you can never reach that because there's only one person that is there, and that is Source, and that is God, and that is Brahman, and that is who made heaven in the first place, and who made earth, and who, is here working through all of us, even if we don't realize it. Alright, that's all I got. And what I was trying to say, because I keep on going off on tangents and spirals, is if anybody would like to add to these thoughts, or especially if anybody has any kind of constructive criticism, especially if I'm thinking something that is unhealthy to think or anything like that, then I am absolutely more than receptive to those things, especially if it's critique. I recognize that other people might know more than me, or stuff like that. So if there's anybody feels inclined to tell me or to add to it, that's a great thing too, is most people don't usually want to critique these things. Most people want to add their own experiences to this greater understanding. And I'm here for that. I'm absolutely here for that, and I would love to expand my understanding. And There's never any judgment involved, even if you're critiquing me, especially if you're critiquing me. I'm more likely to judge you if you just agree with everything I say, even though then I wouldn't do it anyway. But yeah, I mean, I really appreciate stuff in general, like all of it, all of the stuff. Okay, so that's about it about the afterlife. I don't think anything else comes to mind. I guess I could go off and do a super extensive description of what I think about reality, parallel realities, the multi-worlds theory, how that relates to, things like particle physics and stuff. But I mean, honestly, that's a whole other conversation. So reach out to me if you have any interaction you want to have, either through the comments on this video or in a personal message. And again, this message is for whoever it resonates with or whoever finds it fascinating or even entertaining, especially entertaining if it brings a smile to your face and a smile to your soul and a smile to your heart and any positive thing. That's more than I could have ever asked for. I'm going to go ahead and exit the video now. And this message was specifically for one person that requested it through another mutual friend, and this is the manner in which it was requested that I do it, and that's how I chose to interpret the request and then execute the request. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I love you. The world loves you. The universe loves you. God loves you. And even if you're an atheist, the atheistic nature, the non-theist nature of reality itself also loves you. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's all the same thing. It's the totality of everything, and it does love you. Really, very much cares about you. All right. I keep not wanting to stop. I love you guys. Have a good one.